Hello, hopefully third time's the charm. Uh, yeah, third time trying to record this. The first time I had no idea what I was talking about, didn't have a plan. So I decided to start a second video where I sort of knew what I was talking about, and then I realized that OBS was not recording my microphone, so everything was silent. So this time I know even more about what I'm talking about, and hopefully I can get this tutorial out, if you can call it that. So. I'm going to start in the very beginning and instead of just talk about what the song you need. So you need to decide, the first thing you need to do is decide how you want to make your song. There's two ways you can do this. You can do it by ear, which is the long and painful way, or you can use pre-made songs, which is the short and easy way. And the short and easy way would be using MIDI or MML. Here I have an MML song. You may know this from Mabinogi or Arcade. And then the other option is to use MIDI. And you can use several programs for MIDI, if I can find my desktop. You can use Sakaiju, which is down here. You can use Reaper, which I don't have installed because I have a new operating system. Or you can use Anvil Studio. I would suggest using Reaper or Sakaiju. All three of these programs are free. But for now, I'm going to be using 3MLE because I'm using an MML. I could very easily convert the MML to MIDI, but I'm not going to because I know 3MLE very easily, and it's also one of the more user-friendly programs to use. So once you have your programs, you need to start getting the materials in game. What you're going to need is primal gray, which will then get turned into white, and then the white plus the formosite will get you the instrument blocks, the note blocks, and the mag rails, and you're going to need a lot of these. If you're making a song of 30 seconds to a minute, you're going to need about 200 blocks of each, depending on how many notes you have. Like this song has a lot of notes, so I think I used almost 30 blocks in the first measure, and this song is only, I think, 45 seconds long or something. So once you have your blocks, it's good to familiarize yourself. So what I've done here is I've laid out the octaves. So we have octave 1, octave 2, octave 3, and octave 4. These are the limits of the game. There are no more extra note blocks aside from these 4 octaves. So we have like a third of octave 1, then we have 2 full octaves here, and 1 note in the 4th octave. So you get a little bit more than Minecraft, but it's obviously nowhere near as good as Arcade, Mabinogi, or Lord of the Rings. Here I have all of the instruments laid out. They sound like this. So that way I can go step on one if I want to find out what note I want. Now there are some errors in the code, like this here. If I step on it, I get no sound. It's not an issue with the instrument block, it's just that this particular instrument block doesn't have a sound recorded on the lowest octave of B. And it's the same for the drum kit, and I'm sure as well as other instruments. So here in this space, there's no note for that B. Over here, there's no note for that E or this B and C. So, and I lay the instruments out like this so that I can find the gaps in the code. But once you've found the gaps, and once you've picked what instruments you want, you can start building your song. And here I have the song that I started to make. This is only one measure, and I only have enough materials to make one measure. But it's enough to make it sound like the one from the program. So when you start building it, you're going to hit tab, you're going to put your note blocks or whatever on your hotbar. Everything should fit because there's 7 notes plus 1 instrument block, so that'll be on your first hotbar or however you want to do it. And to change the notes, you simply just, or to change the blocks, you simply just hit the number again, and it'll change them. So, right, so when you're building the song, you can stack notes on top of each other, and it'll play all of them that are stacked on top indefinitely. I haven't quite found a limit, but I've seen some that are like stacked 20 or 30 high. You can also stack two notes under each other, and that will play this instrument block that's right there. It'll play these two notes on that instrument, so you can make chords if you want. Chords are definitely doable. But this song doesn't have any chords because it's in MML. So the first thing you need to do is figure out what the shortest note in the song is going to be. And I've already found that out, that right here I have a 16th note. I think there's 4 of them or 5 of them. And then the rest of them are 16th notes. Wait, I said that wrong. 32nd notes are right here, and then the rest of them are 16th notes. So the shortest one I have in the song is a 32nd note, which means that this right here to right here is a 32nd note, but this right here to this right here is a 16th note. And then this right here to this is an 8th note. And then obviously you add down another 4, and this is the 4th note, and go down another here, and then that would be like a measure. So once you've decided how short you're going to make your song, you can go up here, place your track, and then you use your speed changer to change the speed of, or the tempo of the song. So when I step on it, so it sounds like that. Now the next step you need to do after you've decided how your spacing is going to be, you need to figure out what instruments you're going to be using and what the octave ranges are going to be. And this song, I'm going to have to use 4 instruments, even though there are only 3 tracks, and I'll explain why. So you have track 1, which has an octave range of 3, give or take. So we have octave 2 right here. We go down. Here we have octave 1. I'm sorry, octave 3. Then here we have octave 1. And then back here to 3. The C right here that it says it's a B sharp, but it's a C. This is actually an octave 4. And then down here, this is a B that is an octave 1. So we have octave 1. This area here is octave 2 up to this note. And here we have octave 3 up to this note. And then here we have octave 4. And that's pretty much the instrument range, or the note range. It goes from here all the way down to right about here. That's the limit of the game. So you don't have a whole lot to work with. Now this right here is pretty much 2 octaves, and then as you go over here it jumps up. It jumps up quite a bit. So as we get to here, I'll have to start a whole new instrument in the game to cover this area here. So, and that's where that 4th instrument comes in. And then here I'm probably going to end up leaving these notes out here because they're not that important. So, now that you've figured out what the octave range is, you can go into the game and start placing the notes. And as I said before, to change the notes, you just hit the numbers and find out what you need. The black triangles in the corners of the block indicate that it's a sharp. And in this program, sharps are indicated by pluses, and then flats are indicated by minuses. But nobody uses flats in MML. It's just easier to make everything a sharp. But if you come across a flat, you'll have to figure out what it sounds like in sharp. So I think that about covers it. So I went over the octaves, the notes, the errors that they have. Make sure you lay out and figure out what everything is going to sound like. Figure out your note spacing, figure out the octave range, and then start placing notes. And yeah, I believe that covers it. If you have any other questions, I know one guy in Trove. He's not online, and he hasn't been online in a while. But you can try and message him on YouTube. I will put a link to his channel in the description. As far as I can tell, he has the most amount of music in the game. He has, geez, probably 100 songs made. And he's really, really awesome. He's the one that made the Through the Fire and Flames. I think you know him. So Go check them out if you have any further questions. I pretty much just covered the basics, and that should be it. See ya. Hello, I'm back. I realized that OBS once again messed up and wasn't recording desktop audio. So here I'm going to play the song and I'm going to show you the instruments in the game because they obviously didn't come out in the video. So there we go. Here in Trove we have the different sounds, the different instruments.
Ding.
But you can find this out easily enough if you put them down in the game. And the song that I put in the game, it's only one measure, but hey, sounds pretty close to it, doesn't it? It isn't a bit higher octave, but that's just, you know, that's Trove. I can't fix that, sadly.